All right, don't mind my lack of video editing skills. Get another video. This one's going to be Algebra 1 review for my Algebra 1 students. Just a little bit of linear review because I have them working on some linear equations. For the sake of this video, it's going to be all in point slope form. So we got y equals mx plus b. And what my students need to remember is m is equal to the slope, or isn't equal to the slope, it is the slope. And b is the y-intercept. All right, m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Really important. One of the most important things you learn in Algebra 1. Hopefully you've learned it a little bit in pre-algebra also. All right, linear equations. Point slope form. Not point slope form, why am I saying point slope form? Slope-intercept form. I got the slope, I have the intercept. Slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept. All right, so some problems my students are going to be getting are following. So I'm gonna leave that there. I always suggest that my students also write this down on a piece of paper, top of their heading, so they don't have to keep looking around in their notes. Let's say I have y equals 2x plus 3. One type of question I might ask, is this a positive or negative slope? Well, I look at the slope, which is m, and that is m because it's next to x. M is always next to x. So even if I were to rewrite this as y equals 3 plus 2x, this is m because it's next to x. All right? So is that a positive 2 or negative 2? It's a positive 2. So this equation has a positive slope of 2. That's one thing we could say. Technically, it's two things we could say. It's positive slope and the slope is 2. We can also say that the y-intercept is 3 because that is b, and b is the y-intercept. All right, slope, y-intercept, slope, y-intercept. Gotta get that down. All right. Another quick example. Say we got y equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. All right, so this one gonna say that the slope is negative, so negative slope of 2/3. All right, another way you could write this is slope negative 2/3. This is another way that I would want my students to be able to write it. Negative slope of 2/3, the negative is there, or you can write slope negative 2/3. And then the y-intercept is right there, so y-intercept negative 4. So you can either, right, you go, ooh, that was a bad square. I was going for rectangle, didn't turn out. And then you got that. Those are two types of answers I'd want my students to be able to do. Is answer for the slope, positive, negative, and what is it, and then the y-intercept from this. All right, let's work into graphs now. And how this applies to graphs. All right, let's try evenly space these. Get some numbers, -1, -2, -3, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, first thing I'm going to be able to want my students to do is to graph a given equation. So let's say I have a given equation that is y equals 2x minus 2. When you're graphing, the first thing you're going to want to start with is this. Let me circle it. You're going to want to start with y-intercept. You want to start with that. That is a starting point. That is where we start graphs, y-intercept. So the y-intercept is -2. Now remember, this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. So my y-intercept is -2. All right. Now my slope is 2. What you guys got to remember is slope equals rise over run. And you always need to remember that if you don't know what run is, or if it's not written there, then it's always 1. So there's this little imaginary 1 there, all right, that we don't write, because 2 divided by 1 is 2. We're lazy, don't write it. All right, so it's 2 over 1. 2 over 1. And we always go the same way you read, left to right. So I am going to go up 2, I'm going up because it's positive, 1, 2 over 1. All right, and I kind of like my students to draw the right triangle that I just made, the staircase. All right, and then I do it again. Up 2 over 1. All right, then you do your best. Hopefully you got a ruler. Got your line. All right, awesome, linear line. Mine's a little crooked because I didn't space these out evenly. I think I did a pretty good job though. All right, now let's do the reverse. Okay, so the reverse would be given a graph, writing the equation. All right. So one, two, three, four. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's pretty good. All right, going by ones. Remember to check your graphs. Not all graphs, teachers like to trick you. Sometimes graphs aren't going by ones. Sometimes they go by 2s, 3s, 4s. You need to check that. -1, -2, -3, -4. The tedious fun stuff. Really wish I had a projector and I could just project a graph up here. That'd be phenomenal. Wishful thinking, maybe Santa. It's only several months away. All right, so I'm gonna put a graph on here. Let's say I got a point here and a point here. And I am going to, all right, let's say I have that graph given to me and I need to write the equation. So I'm going to have y equals something x. I'm going to put a plus here because I know the y-intercept. I know the y-intercept. I'm going to fill it in right here. Y-intercept is 2. It crossed at 2. At least for my students, for what they're doing, I'm making it that simple. I'm giving them, this is the very, this is starter stuff. I'm going to give the y-intercept. Now you just have to decide the slope. All right, so the slope is rise over run. So I'm going to go from point to point. I got my staircase and I need to make it. So I need to go down and then I need to go over. So that is down 2. Well, if I go down 2, that's subtraction. So that is -2. And then I need to go over 3. So I get my slope from doing that, all right? I get my rise over my run. My rise is actually down, so my rise is negative. I'm losing, all right? What do you know? I happen to have a fraction bar already made. So I got -2 and I went over 3. That's how you write slope-intercept form using a graph that's given to you. That is hopefully going to be helpful to all of my students.